Hello, everyone. Am I audible?
Yeah, yeah, you're audible.
Okay,
Am
cool.
I
A
audible?
very good evening. Yes, sir, you're audible.
Awesome.
A very good evening to everyone present here. It is my pleasure to be here today, and I hope that everyone is doing well. Thank you for taking your time to join us. Today, we have the privilege of having Mr. Eshwar Sundar with us. We welcome you, sir. It is my honor
Thanks.
honor to introduce him. He is a highly accomplished and talented individual who has made a significant impact in the field of software engineering. Currently, he's working at Microsoft. He has also gained experience working for Deutsche Bank. Aside from his work in the corporate field, Mr. Sundar has also made valuable contributions to the community. He has served as the secretary of the NGO Toastmasters International, which focuses on developing communication and leadership skills. And as a mentor, he has helped over 40 students in their personal and professional growth. Would you like to introduce yourself, sir?
Yeah, I think you gave a really good introduction with your opening notes. For me, hey everyone, I'm Ishwar. I'm currently a software engineer at Microsoft. I completed my BTech in computer science from VIT itself. So it's a great feeling to be back for a different reason right now. So from after college, I joined Deutsche Bank as a software engineer, where I served for around 1.5 years. And then from there on, I moved to Microsoft as a software engineer one. And then recently, I moved to software engineer two within Microsoft. So within Microsoft, my role is to build a low code platform, which is called the Power Platform, which you guys might be aware of. So using the tech we build, people are building apps with writing no code and making billions of dollars. So yeah, that's pretty much about me.
Cool, sir. As a student, we can feel unsure about what lies ahead, but listening to someone's journey will give us guidance in the future. Today, Mr. Sundar is here with us to share with us his journey from campus to corporation, which started right here in VIT, as he said. So I am confident that his insights and experiences will be very valuable to all of us. So before we begin, sir, I have a few questions for you.
Sure.
Um, how was your experience in VIT as a fresher, completely clueless on what lies ahead of the 4 years?
Yeah, so when I joined VIT, I didn't know anything about coding, so it was all fresh. And
So,
I was also told you'll be given 8 a.m. classes and stuff, so which was weird because first when I joined the college because of the flexibility and stuff, because FFCS and all the hype
yes,
works.
sir.
But then it was told the first semester you cannot do all those. You need to attend 8 a.m. classes and all those things. And I was always thinking, what am I gonna do? I don't know coding because there are people in your first year who would be like legends in coding already, and you would
Yes,
be
sir.
sitting around with smart people. So they are really smart people, right? And you are literally starting from scratch. So I was also
Yes, sir.
having those feelings. What am I gonna do? And then I think the professors, the community, and obviously our friends you build in college, the whole network you build in college, they were pretty helpful. And I think the community, the professors, and the clubs, which you guys are, those kind of helped me in my way. And I think I got clarity as I moved up, and that's pretty much how my college life went through.
Yes, sir. I can relate to you as well because I entered VIT with zero coding skills.
Awesome.
Yeah. So my next question is, how did you make use of the various resources at hand in the campus?
Okay, so I think the first thing which VIT provides to you is doing a research. So FFCS, if you think about it, it's not just flexibility, right? What the homework you do, like which courses should I take, which professors should I pick, who are good, and you already start interacting with your seniors. You already start looking for courses which will positively impact your career, or let's say anything which goes on forward. And then you also talk with people and you see which professor takes which class really good and stuff. And then the time management, the when I was in college, the server would go down if I go ahead and
Yeah.
try to book a course. It would go down and I would not get what I wanted. So the
Yes,
punctuality
sir.
is also important and stuff. So there are a lot of things which VIT just provides out of the box, which you are doing subconsciously, researching, networking, and all. And then the obvious stuff which comes in is the project-based learning. I think that's the most beautiful part. If someone takes that seriously, I'm saying you like that's a game changer. anybody with good projects on their profile or portfolio, if they have a portfolio, I think that just changes the game for them. And that's what is the game changer between VIT and most other colleges, where they embrace doing projects and a practical purpose. And also the clubs, right? You guys are already doing a lot of event organizations, which few years ago, if you think about it, it was a very massive skill, right? Even now it is, but now students are doing it, and I think you guys are the backbone of anything which happens in VIT in a positive way. So yeah, that's pretty much anything which VIT provides. I used to just grab onto it.
Yes, sir. I agree. Sir, you would have entered the institution with, a goal in your mind or towards achieving something. So, how did you work towards that in those 4 years? Like, how did you keep yourself motivated throughout?
Yeah, so when I joined VIT, I was, again, as I told you, I didn't have coding experience. And I was just like others, I was joining and I was thinking, what am I going to do and stuff. So that time, I still remember his name. His name is Kumara Vel. He's a professor in VIT. I'm not sure if he's still there. So I went ahead and just told him, Caesar, like there are people who are able to code everything which you show quickly like that, and I'm just thinking of algorithms. And this was in my first year. So, and then he gave me guidance, which I still remember. Uh, Take it slow. If you have someone near you who's doing really good, and if you're just starting, then if you think about 5 or 6 years down the line, right? And you should think about your career like not a sprint or something. You should think as it as a marathon, and you should take your time and go slow. Eventually at the end, most of us are going to reach the same end goal, right? You should take your time, and I think that's the most valuable lesson I learned in VIT. Take your time, at your own pace, go about learning things and do it with perfection. Just don't do half baked things. I think that's not going to help you or anybody. Do everything you do with perfection. So there's also this quote, right? How you do anything is how you do everything. So just keep that in mind, and I think that will make your college life really resourceful.
Yes, sir. That was very good. Sir, how did you prepare yourself? I think you would cover this in your PPT. How did you prepare yourself for the transition from campus to corporation? Will you cover that in the
Okay.
few
Yeah, sure.
minutes?
I can give you a quick overview before going to the PPT and stuff. So,
Yes, sir.
when you start off with your campus life, I think a lot of things you do in campus, you'd be okay with doing with naive approaches, or you could be doing it with your own opinion. So, let's say you have a problem statement X and you have a solution Y in mind. You are the only person who decides how to go about it, what the solution looks like, how to tackle it, and all these kind of stuff. But when you go to corporate, or even let's say you're starting up your own business or you're becoming a tech entrepreneur, right? So there you have a lot of other entities in place. You have, if you're working, it's your leadership. If you're actually building stuff and you're a tech entrepreneur, it's your investors. And then if you go ahead with your executions, your customers, at the end, we are all making software that should sell. If it's not making money, I think it's good for your resume, but it's not good in the real world. So
Yes,
those
sir.
kind of things you should keep in mind. So the trade-offs, you don't do a lot of trade-offs in college, but when you go to corporate, I think trade-off skills which you can identify, I think it's a very valuable skill which is appreciated in corporate but not in campus.
Yes, sir. Before I hand over the session to you, I have my final question. Looking back on your
Sure.
journey, sir, is there anything you would have done differently?
Yeah, I think I'll cover that a lot in my PPT. I think the last few
Sure, sir.
slides are basically just which I missed out, and I think people should hop on to have a better or faster career progression. So yeah, I think that will be
Yes, sir.
better answer there.
Yes, sir. I hand over to you now.
Sure. Let me know when my screen is visible and legible and stuff. Is it visible?
Yes, sir, it is.
Awesome. Thanks, Adia. So yeah, I'll just start off with the first thing. Like, why should you even listen to me? Like, I'm just sitting here giving you some statements, but should you even listen to me? So within Microsoft itself, I've solved a good number of challenging problems I think that's where my software engineering skills in this whole presentation comes to picture. And I'm also proud to say that I was one of the 4 engineers who worked on the GPT Copilot control for Microsoft Power Platform, which basically came out as an announcement by itself from Satya Nadella itself. So I think that was a very proud moment. And then the third thing is basically I and my team, we own the whole low code experience for the model apps which businesses rely on and which they use to make billions of dollars every year. So those are the points you might or might not consider, but the most important point for me is I've been in your shoes. I've started from scratch. I mean, started from scratch in college. I didn't do any previous preparation or stuff. Like my first year was the first day of coding. The first day I wrote an algorithm or a flowchart on a piece of paper. So I think that would be the most important reason to even listen to me. So let's start off. I think I would go about this session in 3 parts. The first part is what is very absolutely basic for you to not compromise on. Like as a student who is passing out of college and coming into corporate, or becoming a tech entrepreneur, I think few things you cannot compromise on. The first thing again is picking up one stack and being good at it. Like generalization is good, but if you are specializing at one specific tech stack, that's very important. So how does it translate to? It translates to picking one good programming language. Don't debate on which is a good programming language. Don't go to YouTube and see what's a good programming language to learn in 2023 and stuff, right? Those are a lot of searched keywords, and people still do it. So don't do that. You can pick one programming language, be good at it. Take one tech stack. If you want to do web development, go inside, let's say React or Angular. And if you want to do Web3, go with Solidity and stuff like that. And if you want to go into AI, pick your niche. So that's one part. The second part is basically be really good at critical thinking and logical thinking. I think that's very important. There was a survey by OpenAI, and they were listing a list of jobs which might be replaced by GPT in the future. And the job which was is not going to get replaced is any job which requires critical thinking. And I think programming and engineering is at the peak of it. You require critical thinking to do all this, right? Because it's
So,
kind of
one
difficult. And
second.
yeah,
Are
yeah.
you changing the slides? Because if you are, it's not visible.
Okay. Is it
Yes, sir.
visible now? Okay.
Yes,
I
sir,
think
it
then I
is.
go into.
Just checking.
Oh, okay. Sure. Awesome.
Good, sir.
Yeah. Okay. I'll go forward. The first thing you can see is what changed from 2022 last year. It's not even before. It's just last year to now. What really changed? So almost everyone you see out there can do basic coding these days. So let's say like a to-do list or a tic-tac-toe board, most of the people can do it. So at that point, some things are not even relevant anymore. So the second thing is, as I said previously, critical thinkers are in most demand than ever. Like even if you see previous years, people could do mundane stuff and be done with it. But these days, you should be a good thinker. And another key point is, I want to clear this out because a lot of students have this concern. AI will never replace you. I think it's going to take decades for it to get to that point. But of course, a person using AI, let's say like GitHub Copilot or any other technology on that line, will probably do it, right? Because they are more equipped and they are a 10x developer, and they can think faster because they have an AI doing all mundane activities for them. And this is where it becomes Copilot is always going to be better than autopilot. Like if you ask AI to code a system on its whole, it cannot do it. It cannot do it on autopilot. But if you are helping the AI, that's basically Copilot. And I think that's the most valuable skill in the industry right now. If you master it, I think you are getting there. Now, how do you stand out? There are a lot of uncertainties in this field right now. And if you are anywhere active in online or social media or LinkedIn or anywhere like that, you would know it's very tough time in the tech industry. So how do you even stand out in these places, right? So the first thing is get your fundamentals strong. Like this is very important. Go ahead, go to some platform like LeetCode or Geeks for Geeks or Coach anywhere. Get your data structures, algorithms place in place. Just make it the most important part of your fundamentals. Then go ahead, learn about operating systems, databases, and stuff. I think those are all still relevant skills, and I think to build a good system, I think it's still relevant. And then make full use of VIT's project-based learning. So if you're taking a database class and if there is a J component to it, take that J component very seriously. Even if you do a simple project, if you're able to understand the concept, I think that's very important and it will play a major role in days forward, right? And then the third thing is this is in boom, and I think people are using it really well. But still, I want to throw it out there. Do open source contributions. You can use Summer of Code, Google Summer of Code, or the approach I take these days. You can take this approach. The first approach I take is go find a well-funded startup and see if it's open source. If the startup is open source, you would probably find a GitHub link to it or GitLab link to it. Go to the GitHub account for, the repository for that startup, and go to the issues tab. You would see a tab called issues. Pick a simple issue. Go ahead, set up the startup's code locally, and try to solve that issue. This will give you more exposure than applying and waiting for something like Google Summer of Code. Google Summer of Code is awesome, but I think this is a short cut which you can take and implement yourself. You don't have to wait for someone. So go ahead and hunt and get your own opportunities. I think that will play a really major role in your career or anything you do in tech these days. And then the obvious one which comes into picture again is do as much internships and join as many communities as you can, which you guys are already doing. I think you're joining your clubs, you're organizing events. All those things are really awesome. I think you should keep doing it because those soft skills play a major role in the real world. It might seem like it's not in the campus, but in the real world, I think soft skills play a major role. A very important or really good facet here is which Microsoft itself provides is the student ambassador program. I think you can join this program and show your full potential and help students be aware of what's happening in the tech world. And in turn, when you teach like 10 people, you also get accustomed to do what you're teaching, right? So I think it's a really good avenue to learn. So go ahead, Google this. If you're not aware of this, go ahead, Google this. I think it's really important. And the second point on the same lines is learn and create in public. So what does that mean? So if you have a LinkedIn account or any workplace account, I think you should have an account. If you're not having, go ahead after this session, go ahead, create a LinkedIn account. It's okay if you don't have anything to put there. Just have a good headline, show people what you're doing. And even if you're learning, do it in public. Let's say you solved a good problem today and you took some different approach, go online, post it and say, I took this approach and this is what I solved and stuff. So I think if you start doing that, you get online presence as well and you kind of learn as well, right? So I think that's a very important skill to have. So these are all good to have, and I think you should take it forward. Now, there are some things I missed doing in my college life, and which many students are doing these days, and that is great. And if you are doing it, which I'm going to show you in the next 5 slides, that's awesome. But let's say you're not doing it, I think you should think about it. It's not a compulsory thing like you should do, then only you'll succeed. I didn't do them. I think I did come to a successful position, but it just makes life easier. The first thing here is going ahead and building a network. I created my LinkedIn profile just in my last year. So if you're in your first year and if you're watching this, just go ahead and create one. I think the next person you chat with or you send a cold email or a cold message, that person might be the one who gives you a job, or you can have a great idea and that person will have the same mindset, and you both can become co-founders and launch the next big app, right? Launch the next big deep tech startup or something. It's all possible, and even VIT students have done it, and it's super inspiring. So I think network would have played a key role in their lives also. And if it's like your investors, or you might also get a good friend. We cannot expect everything positive out of a relationship, right? So I think even if you get a good friend, that's good. So go ahead, do your networking from your first year. I think that's a very valuable thing to do. Second thing is do like if you see something, if you see a problem, just don't complain about it. Come up with a solution, or if people are already working on it, give them your inputs and influence change. I think people are doing this these days. Like if I go to some uh, a good forum in Reddit or LinkedIn, I think first year students are coming up with really good ideas, which has shaped a lot of good products. Like you can go online and read about these stories where like a lot of youngsters are influencing changes in the tech industry. So I think that's awesome. So yeah, just see how you can influence change in other people's problem statement or even your problem statement. I think that would be really good. The third thing is really important. Like let's say you're not doing any of it, but you should do this thing. Have a growth mindset. Like this is what we follow in Microsoft also, and I think many companies do follow the same thing, but call it different. They have a different keyword, but in Microsoft we call it growth mindset. That just means you embrace failure. If you think you screwed up in something, just admit it and go ahead and learn it. Because if you don't learn it and if you don't admit it, you'll keep doing the same mistake again and again, and I think that's not good. And if you keep doing it, I think it's the choice you took, and it's better to just have this mindset than regret in the future. So have a growth mindset. The fourth thing is customer obsession. Go in any project you build, you make sure you do some research. Like you don't have to build the next $1 million product, or you don't even have to do market research and stuff, right? Like that's fine. But make sure you are solving at least a small problem which would cater to a very small set of customers also. So pick a good problem. Like your J component has like 4 or 5 months of projects. The first 2 months, sit and understand the problem, and you can do execution later, the next 3 months and stuff, right? Understand the problem, formulate a good solution, and execution just becomes simple. So keep this in mind. And if let's say you get lucky, and if that project you do is actually doing good, and let's say Play Store, or if you're making a website and if the website drives a good amount of traffic, that would just open a lot of opportunities. I think you don't even have to go look for jobs. You'll just keep getting them in your LinkedIn inbox and stuff. So I think just have this mindset. You don't have to do it today. Get your tech skills sorted, and then you can have this mindset in the future. But just keep this in mind. And then the final point I would like to bring up is a scale. So when you're in college, you'll never be thinking about millions of people, billions of people, or the next billion people coming into picture. But when you go into corporate, you have to keep this mindset. Your whatever you build is going to be eventually used by millions of people, billions of people. So I think that's where your core engineering skills will come into picture. You might be very well versed in databases, and you might come up with an optimization that kind of makes life easier for the whole company. So I think that's where your core engineering skills will come into picture. So concentrate on your core CS subjects, even if it's not useful. If it doesn't seem useful, it is useful, trust me. Like I didn't use any of my core engineering skills in my first year of my career, but starting like when I grew up the levels, I think I'm starting to use it, and challenging problems can be solved just by using your core engineering skills. And yeah, finally, just last point: do things fast, because the world is moving very fast. At least now, there are a lot of
Yes.
changes. I think every day you see some change. But it can be because of AI, it can be because of some metaverse or Web3. All those buzzwords keep coming. So do things fast and build it fast. So if you fail, I think that's fine. If you fail fast, I think that's fine, because it will be cheaper if you fail fast. If you invest a lot of time and then you take it slow, you would be missing a lot of years behind. So just go fast enough, and I think that's one key mindset you should be having. These are the things I missed doing. And in my days, like it's not like I'm not from the ancient days, but at least like 3 years before, AI was not like grown to this level. So it's still, if you think about it, it's still ancient in terms of tech industry. So I didn't have to do any of this, but if you're just coming into the tech industry, I think doing all this would keep you one step further, and I think that's just awesome. So yeah, that's pretty
Yes,
much
sir.
what I wanted to present from campus to corporate transition. I'm just open to questions. Is I'll just stop presenting then.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. That was a very brilliant presentation. I think now the forum is ready to receive questions from the students.
Sure. Also,
Okay, the first question is, With the emergence of AI, what tech stacks should we learn that will promise us a good placement?
Okay, yeah. So first thing, I would kind of go ahead and segment this question. So AI is emerging and all that's great, but the tech stack you should still keep in mind is get your fundamentals sorted, and then you can think about prompt engineering. So since you brought this up, AI is just let's say it's at the end if you think about it, it's API calls and stuff, right? Like you're not actually building the model. That's how advanced it is. Anybody can use these AI models. So the most important skill is called prompt engineering. You can go to Google and search. You can go to this website called deeplearning.ai, and that's run by a person called Andrew Ng. He's a legend in AI, and he has a course called prompt engineering. And if you're able to build any application or any website which incorporates prompt engineering in it, I think that's a very good place to be in. Let me give you an example. I think that would make things a lot easier.
Yes,
So
sir.
people use a lot of Instagram these days, right? They build a lot of carousels and stuff. There was this very interesting product I saw in Product Hunt, and that was a great idea. If you think about it, I'll say the problem statement. So you give some news article link to it to the product, and it generates carousels for you. And they used AI to do it. And how they did it was they told the AI, hey, this is a list of text from a news article. Create 5 concise points within these many words. It should fit within a picture, and all these kind of tunings they did to the model, and went ahead and built an application. And it was number one product on Product Hunt for what I think 3-4 months. So prompt engineering, that's a keyword. If you are looking for a keyword, prompt engineering, go to it.
Okay, sir. Great. Okay, the next question is from Nisha Mani. How do you think the process of interviews and hiring has changed pre and post COVID or pre and post ChatGPT?
I think it hasn't changed much, but the questions these. So if you saw AI, right? Like if there was a benchmark from OpenAI itself, so the benchmark was AI was able to pass a lot of medical examinations, SATs and stuff, but it did
Yes, sir.
very terribly in coding hard questions or even medium questions. So I think AI still gives you a lot of bad solutions because it has a problem called hallucination, where it will make you think it's a correct solution, but indeed it's just gibberish. There's not even something like that. So not a lot has changed, but I see in the future people will let you use ChatGPT for your interviews, and they will say you, hey, you can use it, but here's a question which we think even ChatGPT cannot solve. But it doesn't necessarily mean it will be like a very mathematical, a hard or god level question and stuff. It's just that ChatGPT is not capable enough to solve all those yet. I think there's no much change.
Yes, sir. That makes sense. Our next question is from Ayushi Kumari. Any habit which we can maintain regularly for being skilled in coding?
Awesome question. That's a really good question. So basically, this is what I followed. Take slice your week. There is something called deep work, which means like go ahead, turn off all your notification systems. Let's say your mobiles or anything which uh, interferes your attention. Take a sample set of problems. I use the lead code. I just stick with lead code. So take slice your. So how do you maintain motivation, right? You should be able to solve the problem. If you're not able to solve the problem, you'll lose motivation. So pick very easy problems every day. So go ahead, pick easy problems, solve it. So you get the motivation. Like you know that you are good and stuff, right? And then pick a challenging
Yes, sir.
problem, like maybe once a week. If you have this habit, and if you remain consistent, you are already way ahead of most of the people, because people don't do it. They say they do it, they'll do it, but they don't do it. And I think that's very important.
Yes, sir. Consistency is key.
Yeah.
Our next question is from Shaurya Verma. Critical thinking is right, but to beginners, it's also a vague term which seems to digress from a particular path of action. How does one get around developing a pre-specified notion for this and upskill?
Okay, yeah, I think that's a very good point, because If I say you should be good in critical thinking, I get it. It sounds very vague because people, what is even critical thinking, right? So I would dissect it like this. Let's say you get a problem statement. You make yourself good in asking the right questions. So let's say you are going in terms of coding or in terms of technology, how it would translate is take a existing system, any existing system which solves high scale problems. You can take even Microsoft build systems for that, or the system we are working on, like the Power Platform. We get a lot of requests, like millions of requests every single minute. So there, go ahead and see how such a system is built. So don't go into the solution directly. Write the right number of questions. Write all the edge cases you see for a given problem statement and how you would solve it. So in that notion, you will get very creative, and you would start to question your own opinion. Let's say you are coming up with X solution, and you come up with your own edge case. You are now thinking critically because you are yourself criticizing your X solution. You are moving to Y solution. I think that is
Yes, sir.
critical thinking when it comes to technology or the coding world. If you're able to develop that skill, I think that's pretty much what critical thinking is, at least in terms of software.
Okay, sir. Thank you. The next, do we have a next question? It's from Nisha Mani again. What are the skills, hard or soft, which is essential in the industry and is not taught during college?
Yeah, the most recent example for that would be prompt engineering. Again, I'm pretty sure there's no course for it, and I think colleges are not even ready to take such a course. So anything which you see currently in the tech world, it's all changing ecosystems, right? So I think colleges are not obligated to take these courses because all they want to do is give you fundamentals. You need to pick up these fundamentals, build up on yourself, go online, go to clubs or some online community, and build the skill yourself. So when it comes to soft skills, like hard skills, when it comes to hard skills, the technology side, I think these courses are not there in college yet. Soft skills, colleges like VIT. Let's take VIT out of the picture. Like many colleges don't give you these kind of opportunities, right, to connect with people, organize events, or do outsourcing, reach out and stuff, right? Um, those kind of opportunities are still not there in every college, and I think we are all privileged to do all these things. Since VIT gives all that, I think if you're not using it, you're the one falling behind, and I think everyone watching this should join some club and do their activities, and I think that would be awesome.
Yes, sir. I agree. Will having more number of degrees help retainers is the next question.
Uh, okay, I don't quite get it. So when you say retainers, are you meaning actually in the job? Like I'm going to assume that's what it means. When you're in a job and you want to be retained and not getting laid off is what you mean by retained. And more number of degrees is not going to help you. And I think companies like Microsoft or Google or any big tech company, um, they are already not very much focused on your degree. So if you have good skills already, and if you have, so you cannot just say I'm skilled and be done with it. So you need good projects to showcase it. You have a good portfolio, then you can still earn interviews in a lot of good big tech companies. So just having degrees is not going to help you at all, but it's a good starting point. It makes life much simpler, and that's all. That's pretty much it about it.
Okay, sir. The next question is from Anitej Sood. What skills are required in your position on a day-to-day basis?
Okay, the first obvious thing is communicating with stakeholders. Like you might be thinking, as a software engineer at Microsoft, I will be coding all day, but that is actually the most easiest part, because when you in a company like Microsoft, when you come to your coding, it's already all sorted, because you need sign-offs from people like architects and managers and tech leads and stuff. You need to go to them and get sign-offs. So coding is the most easy part, but going ahead, communicating with the stakeholders, formulating a problem is what I do on a daily basis. Formulating what I'm solving, the solutions, and making sure people are on the same page and stuff, like that's what I do these days. And of course, I spend around 60% of my day coding whatever I communicated or got sign off from in the second half or first half. It depends on the day. So yeah, that's pretty much what I do.
Okay, sir. The next question is, as an engineer who had worked on a closer hand with GPT, Can you let us know what is expected out of it in the future?
Yeah, so GPT, it's very uncertain to say, answer this because GPT is getting evolved at a much rapid pace. It's able to do a lot of things. If it's able to do something a previous month, it's able to do it better today. So you cannot kind of expect something. You cannot like predict something out of it. But I think at the end, GPT consumes a lot of power. When I say power, electricity and stuff. So the carbon footprint of GPT is much higher. So I think it's reached its peak. It has to be more optimized to make sure it's environment friendly and stuff. So in the near future, you would expect it to do a lot of more mundane activities. There's something called Auto GPT, which is coming into picture these days, which is able to do very small activities, which we do daily. I think those kind of mundane activities will keep getting automated, and it will become irrelevant in the upcoming future. So yeah, that's how I see it.
Okay, sir. The next question is from Dipanshu. Considering the pace tech industry is at, how would you suggest us to stay up to date with the latest trends and technologies in the tech industry?
Right. This is again a great question. I think this is where you need to join platforms like LinkedIn. If you join a platform like LinkedIn and if you connect with the right people, and I say right people, these are people who are posting very constructive stuff every day. They post trends which are there in technology world. They share good things, and if you have the right connections on LinkedIn, I think that's more than enough because I see anything which comes out in the tech world, it would be reflected in LinkedIn. So I think LinkedIn is a great tool to have to stay updated. Apart from that, you should subscribe to company created blogs, newsletters. These are so. Let's say you go to Microsoft. Microsoft has their own blog. Google has their own blog. Uber has their own blog. So subscribe to these blogs. That makes it. You get news in your email, and if you're a person who reads email, I think that just makes life easier for you to stay updated.
Yes, sir. The next question is, can you bust a myth if data structures are really used in the day to day work in the industry?
Yeah, of course it is being used. This is a question I get a lot. Data structures and algorithms are being used heavily. Um, Even the databases you use, right? At the end, they are B trees, which is again a data structure. If we are conducting this meeting online, which again uses all sophisticated algorithms. So yeah, it's used every day. You sometimes you need to code a data structure from scratch because it needs to solve a specific problem in a specific way, and the existing data structures don't do it. So yeah, it is used.
Okay, sir. I think we have another question. Yes. What developments on the horizon could affect future opportunities?
Yeah, so I think GPT and AI is already doing all this. Like it is, so what was a skill, let's say 10 years back, is no more a skill today. Like a very obvious example would be data entry and stuff, right? Like there were people who were looking at papers and typing in data, and that was basically invalidated by OCR technology, which just looks at a paper and just types in data. So those kind of developments will keep coming in, and it's up to us to stay updated, make sure we are, being having an open mind and progressing every day. Like staying updated would make much more sense, at least in the real world right now.
Yes, sir. Completely agree with you. The next question is from Karan Mukherjee. What are the necessary skill set which we need to acquire and are a must in today's tech developments?
Right. So again, it comes back to the same point. It's important to have critical thinking skills. Are you able to look at a problem, and are you able to figure out things which other people are not seeing? Are you able to see opportunities which other people are not seeing? I think that's a very good skill to have. And then the other most important skill, at least right now in the tech industry, is you working with AI. How good are you able to work with AI? Because previously there was nothing called as 10x developer, right? Like if you want to code something, you have to use your hands and code it, or you need to copy paste and do all kind of tweaks and stuff in your code. But these days, most of the things, if you're able to guide GPT or let's say GitHub Copilot, it gives you a good code which actually works. So if you're able to
Yes.
develop this skill of prompt engineering, I think you are already better than most of the people out there.
Okay, sir. I think those are, yeah, that's about it about the questions. Do you
Sure.
have anything else to say, sir?
Yeah, nothing much apart from this because I've shared what I wanted to share. But if you have any
Yes,
other
sir.
questions, you can directly reach out to me. My handle on LinkedIn is the same. It's Eshwar Sundar, and if you search for it, I should be coming up. You have any other questions, you can directly reach out to me. The one, if you have one takeaway from this whole session, I think it is going ahead and learning this new technology of prompt engineering. That is the most important skill in the corporate world, at least right now. It might change in the future, maybe 1 year from now, who knows what will come out.
Yes,
But
sir.
right now, it's prompt engineering. I think if you are good at it, you are already way above, most of the people out there.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for an insightful session, sir. It was very worthwhile. I'm thankful for
Yeah,
that this session has lightened the spark within us for organizing many such events like these on regular intervals. And I extend my appreciation to you, Ishwar Sundar sir, for this valuable insights. And a heartfelt thank you for each and every one of you for attending the event.
thanks a lot, Adia, for
Thank you.
hosting me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Have a great day.
You have a great day. Cheers.